Can you believe we started Interview Boss in 2021?
Not really. It's insane. That's a lot of episodes and a lot of hours of talking.
Oh my gosh, it is. And if you're scrolling through all of our episodes, you might scroll straight past something that you really, really needed.
Yes, we're always getting messages from people asking us to do an episode on something, and I'm like, we already have.
So we've put together playlists to help you find the episodes that are exactly what you need, suited to your situation.
They're all categorized. If you're applying for jobs, we have episodes about resumes, cover letters, job ads. If you've been offered your dream job, we have episodes on resigning, exit interviews, and how to impress at your new company.
And we even have a very special playlist that's very popular for if you have an interview coming up immediately and you need just our most recommended hard-hitting episodes between now and then.
For all our last-minute listeners. It's all there for you. You can browse by category and check out all the playlists at interviewboss.com.au/podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Interview Boss. My name is Emma. I'm a second-year journalism student who's teamed up with my sister to give you advice, inspiration, and support when you're looking for a new job. Sarah is a HR and recruitment professional, and together we're excited to give you guys all the tips, tricks, and behind-the-scenes knowledge to help you in your career.
Hey, Em, and hello, everyone. Today's episode starts a long, long time ago in a land far, far away.
Excuse me?
Well, we're talking about storytelling. You see what I did there?
But we are talking about storytelling today. Now, you might be thinking, what do you mean? What has storytelling got to do with anything about this podcast? Well, research suggests that facts are 20 times more likely to be remembered if they're part of a story. Interesting. I mean, I love a good story more than the average person. I'm in training to become a professional storyteller, if you will. So we know that. But what has storytelling got to do with job searching?
Well, as you said, facts are more likely to be remembered, but they're even more likely to be believed and trusted. And it's a really powerful way to communicate in general, but particularly in the job search process. So when you're looking for a job, you're trying to communicate your value, your experience, and let that potential employer get to know you. So being memorable, trusted, and believed is a great advantage.
So what you're saying is, in order to be a good job seeker, you need to be able to spin a good yarn.
Definitely.
Right.
Exactly
okay.
right.
So why? Why does storytelling work? Why do we need to be able to spin yarns? What's the deal?
Well, I'm going back into my psych degree a little bit here. Storytelling is actually part of our evolution as humans. If you imagine us as cave people sitting around a fire, sharing stories about how we were able to, catch our food or to use a new tool, they were basically the way that we taught each other lessons. So our brain evolved to pay special attention to stories. And I guess it's kind of a way of putting a bunch of facts into a meaningful structure, which is kind of what helps us to remember the details.
Okay.
I guess you could think about like if I was telling you that I reduced costs by 10%, just, a plain kind of statement. Compare that with a story about how everything was going wrong. I noticed this little mistake. I was able to work with this colleague and we did X, Y, and Z and we improved it and we got this great result. You're so much more likely to be able to connect with the facts when you put them into a bit of a story and talk about what actually happened.
Spicing it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Give it a beginning, a middle, and an end, and make it more meaningful and just more interesting as well. You want to be an interesting person as part of this process.
Makes sense. I mean, think about like listening to boring speeches even, like when someone would come to your school to talk, and if they were just boring, you were zoned out, but you always would remember the ones that were just crazy storytellers and just super enthusiastic.
Yeah, if it puts something in your imagination, You're going to be imagining what happened. You can see that person and their skills a little bit more clearly when you've actually got something to imagine in your mind.
So we know the usefulness of storytelling then, but when would we be using this in your career? I mean, I don't think you're talking about this in terms of just sitting in the lunchroom and saying, "Hey, Karen, guess what I did 2 years ago." That's probably not what you're talking about.
You could if you want, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, each to their own. But when's the ideal time to be using this magic power of storytelling in the workforce?
Where I've seen this work really, really well for people is during the job search. So, working out your clear and engaging story is going to help you communicate so much better.
So hang on. By saying in the job search, are you talking about in interviews?
Yep, definitely in interviews, but even before that. So, writing your resume, if you have a really clear idea of your career story, where you've come from, what's the narrative that you're trying to tell from each of those positions that you've held, and what's the story about you that you're trying to get across, you'll have so much of an easier time writing that resume, even like a LinkedIn profile that you're putting out there as well, your cover letter. During a phone interview, that can be a really key time where you're not in person, so your words have to be really clear and your words have to paint a picture even more. But then in interview questions as well, this is the interview question that everyone finds the hardest to answer. Can you have a guess what it is?
Tell me about yourself. Oh, just tell me a
Yeah,
little bit of what do you like to do? Who are you? What's your story? Fill us in. Ugh, cringe.
exactly. And it's every single interview's first question. I use that as an opener every single time.
Good
It's a bit of an
icebreaker.
icebreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also gives you somewhere to start off because normally you're sitting across from this person, you've seen their resume, but other than that, they're a complete stranger.
Yeah. You're not just gonna go in and say, "Tell me about the biggest challenge you've ever faced." You gotta warm them up.
Exactly, that's right. So it's going to be pretty much the first question you get in most of the job interviews, most of the phone interviews, even on those recorded video interviews. This is going to be one of those questions. Tell us about yourself, introduce yourself, something like that. It's going to be,
Definitely. There's no escaping it.
it's basically asking you, tell us your story.
So we know they're definitely going to ask us this story. Now we just need to know how to respond. Now, Sarah, you've put some steps together that we can take to put together this story and answer this question. So, starting with step one, brainstorm. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this can really help you basically just to be a bit of a brain dump. So you want to get down all memories, experiences, and achievements that you have throughout your career. So you're jotting down all the different roles that you've had, even maybe the different volunteer things that you've done or things that you've helped people with, other side projects, that kind of thing. What did you learn from each role? What did you like or dislike? And why did you leave? So, for example, one of those things might be, that role really taught me that I didn't really like sales. And
Right.
therefore, that's where you can then explain that to an employer as to why you changed track. Or, you could say, something like, where you've relocated and you've moved. That can be another thing that you can put down.
Cool. So, we've collated all this information. Now we need to put it together into a story. So, what's that involve?
Yeah, so you're looking for progression, you're looking for themes, things that you've always loved doing. So, something you might notice is, hey, I was a tutor when I was at university, and then now I've started training people at work as well. So, that's a bit of a common theme that you can say of, you've always been passionate about teaching
Yeah. Yeah.
things. Um, Things that you have learnt throughout those experiences that you've had, or moves that you've made in your life. For example, where you went to uni, or, this was the progression that I took until I changed careers and I studied this and then I went that way. So you're trying to work out what was the progression that you made? Where are the key jumps or movements? Did you move cities? Do you want to be saying to someone, I did these things and then I started a family and then I moved into this area? Look at the commonalities between them and piece it together into a story that you can basically tell. That you want to skim over, the oldest parts of your career, jump into the highlights. What did you study? Where did you move? All those kinds of things. and then more detail towards the more recent part of your career
Cool.
is how you'd want to look at it.
And then step 3 sounds simple, but practice.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
Classic.
You want to repeat it a few times. So practice telling it to your friends, your family, in front of the mirror. You could record yourself if you like, and try and get it to be really clear. If you're forgetting what comes next or going, oh, whoops, I forgot something, I have to go back and add that in.
Do it 10 more times.
Yeah, even if it helps you to actually jot down the key points that you want to make. So say there are 5 or 6 points of, I want to start with my university studies, or I want to start with, the first job I ever had, or I want to start with, the career change that I took. And then, what are the next 5 points that you want to hit? So you can do it in dot points, and then you can just keep, you can just think of what's that next point that I want to make. Hey, Interview Boss listeners, if the podcast just isn't doing it for you and you need way more help to prep for your next interview, we have the perfect thing for you. Interview Academy. Em, tell us all about it.
This is huge. This is the love child of Sarah after doing hundreds of one-on-one coaching sessions, finding out what people struggle with the most, common mistakes. Sarah has created the ultimate course that you can do in your own time, self-paced, heaps of modules, videos, interactive quizzes, a workbook that will become your Bible by the end that you can take with you into your interview, because if you're a long-time listener, you know that we endorse taking notes into your interview. It's a game changer.
Check out more about it at interviewboss.com.au/interview academy. So, Em, I've actually got a challenge for you. I want you to imagine you're in a job interview for your dream journalism job, and the manager just told you, tell me about yourself.
I'm nervous already. I'm sweating.
But first, I want you to just give us the facts about you at the moment. Just
The
facts
cold,
only.
hard facts.
Yeah. So go for it.
My name is Emma. I'm 20 years old. I'm a second-year journalism student at the University of Wollongong. I currently work in promotions for a local radio station, and that's it.
Yeah, and you're applying for whatever job it is. Cool. Okay, now I want you to do basically the same information, but I want you to put it into a story for us.
All right. This is one thing I think I'm good at. I think I'm a pretty good storyteller. I hope.
Ooh,
But the pressure's on.
those are
I've
big
talked to
words.
myself
The
up.
pressure is on.
Yeah.
Righto, let's see what you've got.
All right. You say tell me about yourself just to get me in the zone, so I can just imagine.
Righto. Emma, so tell us about yourself.
Awesome. So I'm 20 years old, and at the start of 2019, I made the move from my small country town in New South Wales to the big smoke in Wollongong to pursue my dream career of journalism at the University of Wollongong. I've always been super passionate in media, in English, in writing, in all things communications. When I was younger, I used to get a microphone and pretend to be a newsreader. My favorite show was actually 60 Minutes as a kid, which is quite unusual. So it's definitely been a dream of mine to be in this industry. Having now secured a job in radio, I am just getting so much experience and so happy to have a foot in the door and just be climbing the way up. I have so much more to learn.
Oh,
did I sell myself or what?
Absolutely. You've got the job. You're hired.
Thank you. I tried.
But what did you feel about that second one compared to the first one where you're just talking about the facts?
Oh, yeah. Way more oomph. It's powerful.
Yeah. You're really connecting with, you're the small town girl. You're this kid who loves 60 Minutes.
Just quietly, I love pushing
you.
the country girl card. I'm sorry. It's just, it's so good. Babysitting jobs, anything. I feel like you just appeal to people if you're like, I moved here a couple of years ago to study. I'm just a small, quiet little country girl that's trying to navigate her way through life. Honestly, it's a card that I play a lot.
Well, That's the thing with storytelling. If you've got something like that, you gotta use it. If there's a thing of, my parents moved here as immigrants and they worked really hard and I've worked my whole life,
Yeah,
use that
because it's part
storyline.
of your story, isn't it? It's shaped you, so use it, tell it. It's your story, tell it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that was amazing, and I hope that, you guys listening at home been able to see the difference between just giving the facts and actually putting something into a story. So, I challenge you, think of those little anecdotes, think of those little things about yourself that you can tell to make your story and make that about you question really powerful and really interesting. The best phone interviews I've ever done are where the candidate or the person I'm speaking to has a really clear idea of why they're applying for this job and how that fits into their story and where they've kind of come from so far. So, definitely worth sitting down, having a reflect, and putting something together so that you've got a really, really good answer to that question next time because it's definitely going to come up.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly, this whole storytelling thing, we've covered some really great points. But I want to ask you, what do you think about storytelling when you've had some time off work? Is it particularly important, I think, to have a solid story about why there might be a gap in your experience?
Definitely. If you've got something that you need to address, even if it was, hey, this role didn't work out and then I left, or it's a gap in your career, or it's something that you want to address, even if it's just why are you leaving your current workplace. Now, in those situations, there are likely to be a lot of things at play, right? You might have had some time off work for maybe three, four different reasons all at the same time, right? I think it's really important to decide what reason is the primary one that you'd like to highlight and keep it simple.
They don't need your life story.
Yeah, it just makes it a bit complex. If it was, oh, it was this and it was kind of this and it was kind of that. Pick one main thing and stick to that. It makes the messaging a lot clearer. I'm not saying make it up by any means, but if you had some time off and you did some study, or you had some time off and you spent time with family, you don't need to give them, all the 6 reasons that you had time off. Let's just stick with, I had some time off and I focused on my studies, and I retrained and I got some stuff done around the house, and then now I'm really looking forward to coming back in. Or if, it's why are you wanting to leave? Look, I'm looking for a mentor that can take me to the next level in my career. There might be 3 or 4 other reasons why you're also looking to
Yeah,
leave,
but just
but
pick
pick
one, keep your story straight. I think it
yeah,
removes from the employer's perspective a lot of guessing and wondering, and it leaves them no room to make up assumptions if they just look at your resume and think, "Oh, 3 years off work, what's this about?" Whereas if you come in strong, like I did in that little example, but, include, "Yep, a couple of years ago, I had time off for XYZ, but I'm back, blah, blah, blah."
yeah.
They're gonna go, "Oh, wow, they've all over it. They've
And
summed it
you
up."
own it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
own
it.
it. So
Own
you
your
go,
shit.
"Yeah, look, for a few years there, I jumped around jobs a little bit. I didn't really know what I was meant to
Yeah.
do, but now I've found it and I'm really set on this is the move that I need to make." Or,
Definitely.
whatever it is, as long as you're confident about it, you're clear in your messaging and you own it.
It's gonna sound a lot more powerful than someone who says,
Yeah,
I was just doing a few different things." Yeah. Vague, not convincing
yeah.
yourself and not convincing them.
Absolutely. Yep. So go back to those things and give them a meaning, give them a purpose, and stick to that one message. It's going to make it easier to explain.
Incredible. Well, I hope that you guys have found this helpful. I mean, I know I learnt a lot. Hope you enjoyed my little mock interview there, practicing for the real deal one day. And yeah, that sums it up. See you next week. You can wrap your ears around us again.
See ya. Thanks so much for listening to Interview Boss. If you want to hear more from us, make sure you hit subscribe. We're a new podcast, so if you liked this episode, we'd really appreciate it if you could give us a review so we can help even more people. For more advice, inspiration, and a supportive community, join us in the Interview Boss Facebook group.
we've been your job search besties and helped you in some way, there's a cool way you can support the show. Shout us a virtual coffee.
We get a huge kick out of reading all of your success stories. Head to buymeacoffee.com/interviewboss and shout us a cuppa.
If you keep us caffeinated, we can keep the content coming.